Welcome, everybody. We are live. Welcome to the very first of the creative writing lessons that we will be offering this semester. This is the fall 2025 edition of Conchas y Café. Bienvenidos a todos. Como mencioné para ustedes que nos están siguiendo en español, acabo de subir el folleto que vamos a repasar esta noche en el chat. For everyone who has just logged on, I hope you're able to access the handout in our chat. If not, I am uploading it right now one more time. Feel free to download it off of the chat. For those that are joining on our live, or if you are watching after the fact on YouTube, you can also find the handout as well as the recording on our website at at DSTL distillarts.org/Conchas y Café zine. I'll put a nice little graphic on the screen to let you know where you can go. And that'll be available as long as the fall semester is still active for 2025. If you're watching after fall 2025, then I am sorry, it won't be available to you there, but you can always reach out directly to us at info@dstlarts.org by email, of course. Bienvenidos. Y como mencioné hace rato, Abraham is going to be the one to teach tonight's lesson, so I am going to mute myself. I will still be watching our chats, so if you are, at any point wanting some clarification, have a question, you can always use the chat, whether that be on Instagram Live, YouTube Live, or on Zoom. So I'll be there to support you. And Abraham, it is all yours, my friend.
Buenas noches. Good night, everyone.
Hello.
Again, this is Conchas y Café. We are gonna do bilingual classes. So if you see me speaking English, just wait. Then I'll come back and we'll do it in Spanish. So como les digo, vamos a hacer la clase bilingüe. Y la primera parte normalmente lo voy en inglés y después sigo en español. So espérense tantito. Y normalmente lo ven pedacitos aquí en inglés y pedacitos acá en español. Okay? So let's get started. Comencemos este viaje. Let's start with this poem. Comencemos con este poema. And probably some of you might remember this one, but let's go for it. So, title's Bluebird. There is a bluebird in my heart that wants to get out, but I'm too tough for him. I say, stay in there. I'm not going to let anybody see you. There is a bluebird in my heart that wants to get out, but I pour whiskey on him and inhale cigarette smoke. And the whores and the bartenders and the grocery clerks never know that he's there. There is a bluebird in my heart that wants to get out, but I'm too tough for him. I say, stay down. Don't you want to mess me up? You want to screw up the works? You want to blow my book sales in Europe? There's a bluebird in my heart that wants to get out, but I'm too clever. I only let him out at night, sometimes. When everybody is asleep, I say, I know that you are there, so don't be sad. Then I put him back, but he's singing a little in there. I haven't quite let him die. And we sleep together like that with our secret pact. And it's nice enough to make a man weep, but I don't weep. Do you? And vamos a hacerlo en español. Esperen. So, pájaro azul. Hay un pájaro azul en mi corazón que quiere salir, pero solo soy demasiado duro para él. Yo digo, quédate ahí, que no voy a dejar que nadie te vea a ti. Hay un pájaro azul en mi corazón que quiere salir, pero le pongo whisky encima y lo inhalo con humo de cigarro. Las putas y los camareros y los empleados del supermercado nunca sabrán que él está ahí dentro. Hay un pájaro azul en mi corazón que quiere salir, pero soy demasiado duro para él. Yo digo, quédate abajo. ¿Quieres desmadrarme? ¿Quieres arruinar las obras? ¿Quieres arruinar las ventas de mis libros en Europa? Hay un pájaro azul en mi corazón que quiere salir, pero soy demasiado inteligente. Solo lo dejo salir a veces por la noche, cuando todos están durmiendo, y digo, sé que estás ahí, así que no te pongas triste. Luego lo devuelvo, pero está cantando un poco ahí dentro. No lo he dejado morir. Y dormimos juntos, así, con nuestro pacto secreto. Y es lo suficientemente agradable como para hacer un hombre llorar. Pero no lo hago, lloro. ¿Pero tú? So, this poem is by Henry Charles Bukowski, born August 16, 1920, passed away March 9, 1994. Was a German-American poet, novelist, and short story writer. His writing was influenced by the social, cultural, and economical ambience of his adopted home city of Los Angeles. This was published in Bukowski's book, The Last Night of the Earth, poem circa 1992. So, este poema fue hecho por Henry Charles Bukowski, nacido el 16 de agosto de 1920 y falleció el 9 de marzo de 1994. Fue un poeta, novelista y cuentista alemán-estadounidense. Su escritura estuvo influenciada por el ambiente social, cultural y económico de su ciudad natal adoptiva de Los Ángeles. Y esto fue publicado en el libro de Bukowski, La última noche de los poemas de la Tierra, alrededor de 1992. So, what do you guys think? ¿Qué piensan acerca de este poema? Abren el chat o hablen.
Abraham, this is Dr. Rosie.
Hi, Dr. Rosie.
Hi. This kind of, a lot of times what we have, like sometimes when we have writer's block or something that stops us from just flourishing or just blooming, and this poem, the way he keeps keeping that bluebird down and does whatever, to almost hurt the bluebird, which is, it kind of almost sounds like himself. And so I kind of feel like it's a thing of self-destruction sometimes, and it's an unhealthy way of looking at yourself. Sometimes you don't almost believe in yourself, or if that bluebird were to blossom and just go do something, it's almost like it's hard for this person to really just be themselves. And so it's almost that self struggle that I heard while you were reading it. That's what came to mind.
Excelente, sí, tiene mucha razón ahí. ¿Alguien más que quiera hablar de este poema?
It's very confessional and internal and vulnerable. I also interpreted it as having like sort of painting the consequences of like machismo, where there's something gentle inside, but I assume it's a he, and I is it he? It doesn't feel safe in letting that very vulnerable and gentle and fragile part of him. So in order to protect it, he does, I don't want to say hurt it, but he does oppress it and he does suppress it, which ultimately does damage in a way. So it's a misguided attempt to protect himself, most likely because he's been taught you can't have a bluebird or other people will kill it.
Yes, I think you're correct. And it's a part where it says we have a pact, right? So it's this kind of balance that he's trying to manifest, right? So that's really
fighting
important use of that. Yeah, it's fighting himself. Yeah.
It's fighting himself.
Está peleando consigo mismo porque dice que tiene un pacto con el pájaro y pues es una forma de balancear cómo somos y cómo queremos que el mundo nos vea, ¿verdad?
El autoestima de nosotros, our self-esteem.
Yes.
And
¿Alguien más?
yeah, Dowdy in the chat added a fun fact. Bukowski was also a fellow cat lover. He has a poetry book with all cat poems. And regarding this poem, Bluebird, Dowdy wrote, I like how accessible the language is. It is simple to understand. There's no quote unquote fancy language. Instead, it feels conversational, where a person can understand.
Yes, that's one of the reasons a lot of people like Bukowski, because it feels like it's not pretending too much. It's just a little more raw.
This is Lois, and I have a question. When he says about Europe, that they is he talking about that other people? He is using Europe as a metaphor of describing people might not accept him.
Well, he's talking of himself in particular in this poem, and he is basically selling books, right? He's a poet, so he's talking about how would he being himself will affect his sales in Europe, right? If he wasn't portraying himself as a tough person, people might not like him, right? And especially at the time, remember, this was like around the 20s, 40s, you know, like back then it wasn't a time where people were soft, right? Like being expressive of your emotions was a little hard to do. So it's also a reflection of the time. So, como decía, es un reflejo de la época también donde él pues vivió en una época donde pues no todos reflejaban sus sentimientos. Era como cuando hablas con tus abuelos o tus tíos o tus papás, son un poco más cerrados. So, está diciendo que sus ventas en Europa serían afectadas si es que él demostrara su siendo un poco más débil o más soft, más sentimental.
Yeah. That's actually the 90s. But I mean, the point.
Oh, it was older. Yeah.
Yeah, the point is still the same. I mean, he's a man that grew up during a time period where to be masculine was anything but being soft and sensitive and
vulnerable.
He's being a poet and vulnerable, right?
Anyone else before we move on? ¿Alguien más que quiera dar un poco de comentarios sobre este poema?
I guess I'll mention something I feel that I connected with this poem is that we're all just, I guess, wearing a mask or just not really showing our emotions or expressing ourselves naturally or freely, and that that he acknowledges that we don't do that readily, and that he definitely is not going to do so.
Yep. That's the point of it. Gracias. Okay.
It sounds like if it troubles him so that he's even started drinking. Is that it?
Oh, yeah. He was an alcoholic already. So it's part of his persona it's that, and he's acknowledging that that's also a problem, right? Okay, we'll move on for now. Gracias. Vamos a seguir clase. Okay, perfecto. So para esto, we're going to start with an exercise. And listen, I want you to write down a list of things you don't want other people to know. I know it's hard. Yeah. You can also use other people's inner fears as long as they're coming from a true place. So examples: watching rom-coms, self-hate, drugs, love cats, dress up, something that you don't want others to know that you do, right? Something that you're hiding, right? So, como les decía, el ejercicio de ahorita, quiero que escriban una lista de cosas que no quieres que otras personas sepan de ti. Se ve que es difícil, pero pues si quieren pueden utilizar otras personas, otras cosas que ustedes sepan que otras personas no les gusta saber de ellos, ¿verdad? Ejemplos es ver comedias románticas, odiarse a sí mismo, drogas, tienen gatos, se van a los Comic Cons a vestirse de superhéroes. Ahí está. So pongan en el chat, si quieren, una lista de las cosas que ustedes piensan que no les gustaría decirle a otras personas, ¿ok? ¿Qué les damos? 5 minutos, Luis? How much time? 2 minutes, 3 minutes? I don't know.
I think we could do like 3 minutes.
3 minutes? Okay, no pressure. Tick-tack, tick-tack, tick-tack. Ok. Bueno, tienen 3 minutos para escribir. Y aquí están los ejemplos. No sé qué les... En este caso, a esta persona no le gustaba enseñar al mundo que es sentimental. Okay? So in this case, Bukowski doesn't want people to know that he's sentimental, right?
And they don't have to be very like
deep.
profound things. There's just like simple little things that a person might feel embarrassed to share with somebody that they feel like, might respect them to a certain degree. And like with most of our exercises, you can always put what your thoughts are in the chat, but because this is going to help you with your writing exercise for the week, we do recommend that you keep notes of whatever it is that you write down separately from Zoom as well. Así que aprovechen del momento, tomen notas, ya sea en papel, también en Zoom si quieren, pero no se les olvide copiar sus notas en algún lugar seguro.
Sí, puede ser personal, o si quieres usar un personaje ficticio, puedes hacerlo, porque sé que puede ser un poco incómodo, no hay problema si quieren, pero que venga de una cosa real, o sea, que hayas escuchado o que sepas, pero no intentar ser real, ¿ok? Luis, ¿quieres poner un ejemplo? Algo que pensarías tú. Ok, ese es el primero en poner el chat.
Soy libro abierto, I don't know.
That's a good one.
Mentiroso.
I mean, everybody has to have a little something to themselves.
Mira, ponle que te gusta escuchar a Taylor Swift. Ahí ponle.
No.
I was right. Aquí está. Primero tenemos.
I feel attacked.
No, you just want to dance. Okay. Tenemos el primero. Tiene Fears of Rejection. I like listening to Billie Eilish. Oh, there you go. A lot of people do. Favorite color is pink. Enjoys having spiders as roommates. Yes, that's a good one. Struggle with binge eating. Binge eating, sorry, my bad. Scared of initializing conversations, right? That's what I mean?
Yeah, initiating combos.
Yeah. Wow. Because when you say combos, I'm thinking of video games. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, está bien. Perfecto, Bis.
Wrong kind of combo.
Yeah. Or meal, right? Like your French fries and your you saw that? Oh, that's part of it, binge eating. Okay.
Open mics give Miss Luz a headache.
Oh wow, Miss Luz.
That's fair though. That's fair. Yeah.
But I seen you like I remember the first times I saw you like doing like live stuff. You were a little more shaky, but I thought you were better now.
They still give me a headache.
Yeah, that's why I go first. I feel like it helps to like be the first one. You don't have to worry about it to the rest of the night to just listen to the other people. That's my tactic.
I really do appreciate those of you that have shared so far. Mm-hmm. And it is optional, by the way. You do not have to share. But if you are at least writing the exercise, right? Writing a response to the exercise, again, this will help you later. So keep notes, whether that be on a piece of paper or a notebook somewhere else. Definitely keep.
Okay, we have Tari, says going on hikes alone. Yeah, it's a lot of people do that. Rats and mice. Long novels. Oh. Watching movies, The Wind, La Llorona. So scary movies. The Wind. What is The Wind? I never heard of that one. Oh, that's a different. Okay, never mind.
Well, I like to sing, but I don't have a tune.
Oh, Twilight Zone. Beatles. Give me the EVGs.
Abraham.
Uh-huh.
I have mine. I cringe when I see insects, especially spiders, small or large, I don't care, That just scares the hootin' tootin' out of me. I'm also very scared of snakes. And then I struggle with people oppressing others. It's like it brings something out of me to want to, form a voice to let's go after them. Protest.
Interesting. And again, just to keep you in mind, try to start mental notes of why you don't want people to know those things. That's a good thing to also have. Si quieren, mientras están viendo su lista, dicen, ¿por qué no quiero que la gente sepa que esto me da miedo o esto me gusta también? Porque es interesante. I might wait for indie days, but I don't like tell anyone. This seems minimal. Okay, I see. Okay, excellent. Okay, just for time's sake, we're gonna continue unless somebody else wants to write down their answers. I think we passed 3 minutes, right, Luis?
Yeah, we're good to move on.
Okay.
And again, I want to say, as we move on, I want to say thank you to those of you that felt comfortable sharing. Thank you for adding to the conversation.
Thank you for adding to the drama.
The drama.
Muchas gracias, jovenazos, por poner en el chat. Y también tenemos I don't want anyone to know my room 101. Okay. Now we know. Excellent. Okay. So let's continue. So when it comes to understanding ourselves, social interaction plays a more important role than many of us realize. According to sociologist Charles Horton-Cooley, individuals develop their concept of self by observing how they are perceived by others. A concept Cooley coined as the looking glass self. This process, particularly when applied to the digital age, raises questions about the nature of identity, socialization, and the changing landscape of self. So, cuando se trata de comprendernos a nosotros mismos, las interacciones social juega un papel más importante de lo que muchos de nosotros creemos. Según el sociólogo Charles Horton-Cooley, los individuos desarrollan su concepto de sí mismos observando cómo son percibidos por los demás. Un concepto que Cooley acuñó como el yo del espejo. Este proceso, particularmente cuando se aplica a la era digital, plantea preguntas sobre la naturaleza de la identidad, la socialización y el panorama cambiante del yo. So, let's get a little more into the looking glass self. The looking glass self describes the process wherein individuals base their sense of self on how they believe others view them, using social interactions as a type of mirror. People use the judgments they receive from others to measure their own worth, values, and behavior. According to self, symbols, society, Cooley's theory is notable because it suggests that the self-concept is built not in solitude, but rather within social settings. In this way, society and individuals are not separate, but rather two complementary aspects of the same phenomenon. And, como les decía, sigamos en el concepto de el yo del espejo. El yo del espejo describe el proceso en el que los individuos basan su sentido de sí mismos en el cómo creen que los ven los demás. Al utilizar la interacción social como una especie de espejo, las personas utilizan los juicios que reciben de los demás para medir su propio valor, valores y comportamientos. Según uno mismo, símbolos, sociedad. La teoría de Cooley es notable porque sugiere que el autoconcepto no se construye en la soledad, sino en entornos sociales. De este modo, sociedad e individuo no son aspectos separados, sino dos aspectos complementarios de un mismo fenómeno. So, core assumptions. According to Society in Focus, the process of discovering the looking glass self occurs in 3 steps. Okay? Step 1. An individual in social situation imagines how they appear to others. Second, that individual imagines others' judgment of that appearance. Third one, the individual develops feelings about and responds to those perceived judgments, right? So, asunciones principales. Según Society in Focus, el proceso de escribir el yo del espejo se produce en 3 pasos. Primero, un individuo en una situación social imagina cómo se ven ante los demás. Segundo, ese individuo imagina el juicio de los demás sobre esa apariencia. Tercero, el individuo desarrolla sentimientos y responde a esos juicios percibidos. There you go. So, in practice, the process might look like this. So this is the example, right? Someone meets a group of new work colleagues for the first time. This individual believes she can easily demonstrate professionalism and competence to others. During this interaction with her new coworkers, the individual pays attention to her colleagues' body language, word choices, and reactions to the conversation. If these coworkers provide positive feedback, such as in maintaining eye contact or offering firm handshake, the individual's belief in her own professionalism will be upheld. However, if the colleagues provide negative feedback, such as looking away, leaving the conversation quickly, the individual might question how professional they truly are, right? So, en español, en la práctica, el proceso del que estábamos hablando se ve así, y este es un ejemplo. Alguien conoce por primera vez a un grupo de nuevos compañeros de trabajo. Esta persona cree que puede demostrar fácilmente profesionalismo y competencia a los demás. Durante esta interacción con sus nuevos compañeros de trabajo, el individuo presta atención al lenguaje corporal de sus colegas, la elección de palabras y las reacciones a la conversación. Si estos compañeros de trabajo brindan retroalimentación positiva, como mantener contacto visual y ofrecer un apretón de manos firme, se mantendrá la confianza del individuo en su propio profesionalismo. Sin embargo, si los colegas brindan comentarios negativos, como mirar hacia otro lado o abandonar rápidamente la conversación, la persona podría cuestionar cuán profesionales son realmente. Okay? So the process of the looking glass self is further complicated by the context of each interaction and the nature of people's involved. Not all feedback carries the same weight. For instance, people might take their responses from those who they trust more seriously than those of strangers. Signals can be mistaken. People also usually take their own values system into consideration when thinking through any changes of their behavior or views of self. So, puede chafear, ¿verdad? So, el proceso de yo espejo se complica aún más por el contexto de cada interacción y la naturaleza de las personas involucradas. Por ejemplo, no todos los comentarios tienen el mismo peso. Las personas pueden tomar más en serio las respuestas de aquellos en quienes confían que de las personas extrañas. Las señales pueden ser malinterpretadas. Las personas también suelen tener una cuenta, su propio sistema de valores al pensar en cualquier cambio en su comportamiento o visión de sí mismos. Ultimately, the process of looking glass self is one of alignment. People constantly seek to create constancy between their internal and external worlds, and therefore continue to perceive, adjust, and strive for equilibrium through their lives. En última instancia, el proceso del yo del espejo es de alineación. Las personas buscan constantemente crear coherencia entre sus mundos interiores o externos y, por lo tanto, continúan percibiendo, ajustando y esforzándose por lograr el equilibrio a lo largo de sus vidas. Okay? So, there you go. Any questions on the self-glass, the looking self-glass? ¿Alguna pregunta del yo del espejo, de lo que acabamos de hablar? Any questions, any comments? ¿Alguna pregunta, comentarios? Vengan.
Dr. Rosie, is that a question?
No, I'm just taking it all in, and you know, I'm just trying to absorb the whole thing. Abraham's lesson here. It's quite complicated, but because it has to do with yourself and how you're perceived and what you know, all that. So it's interesting.
Well, I think a lot of people, and I'm speaking for myself, try to be people pleasers at some time in their life. But you have to learn how to love yourself. You come first.
I like that people self-pleasing goes with that. Don't you think that Bukowski was a little bit of doing that, trying to please the readers, not to show who he was? Kind of reminds me of that. I think we have comments too, right? His class of sociology.
Yeah. We have some comments, you know, just celebrating the familiarity with the concept.
Yes, it's definitely sociology here.
Yeah.
Psychology as well.
Yeah,
both of them.
Psychology. Yeah. Yeah, this ultimately is about how people go about developing their personal identity. Yeah. One of the many ways. Did anyone have any questions or anything that they were maybe not fully understanding or were clear?
Alguien que piensa que no entendió una parte o que quieren saber un poquito más de una sección que a lo mejor no le entendieron, pueden preguntar. Y ese es el nombre, The Looking Glass Self. Yeah, just to continue, just the easy way of viewing this is just how we see the interactions we have with others that builds the sense of self that we have of ourselves. And it's an interesting concept because we used to think like, oh, I'm me, just about me, and I build myself. But no, this shows that we become the person who we are based on the contact we have with other people, right? If for the better or for the worse, you know, we build ourselves because we're connected with many people, and that's how we basically create a sense of self. Así como lo más fácil de explicarlo es decir que pues normalmente se pensaba que uno se creaba a sí mismo, la persona que uno piensa que uno es, pues en solitud, pero realmente esto enseña que las conexiones o las interacciones que tenemos con otras personas hace que nos veamos a nosotros de cierta forma y que interactuemos o cambiemos nuestras formas de ser basado en cómo nos conectamos con otras personas. Puede ser nuestros papás, que es lo que se refiere, que a veces hay gente que pesa más que otras en cómo nos relacionamos con nosotros mismos. ¿Ok?
Yeah. Abraham, there's two big dynamics that come to my mind. One is who you grew up with. That's one big dynamic in whatever toxic relationships there were or positive relationships. Then you go out into the society, into the world, and then you have another group of dynamics that's going to try to give their opinion or their whatever. And so you sometimes individuals could struggle with that, because whatever you're perceived at home may not be what you're perceived in the outside world. So it's a psychological thing that just works in a circular thing, and and wherever whatever innate things that you have from within, that's going to either keep you strong or keep you grounded to perceive and keep moving forward, regardless of what's coming at you from the home perspective or from the society perspective. So man, you're opening up all kinds of things with this exercise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I want. And yeah, it talks about that, like how we don't just become one thing and then continue being the same person through our lives. It's a constant thing, right? It says we search that equilibrium, right? Like to be the inner and the outer through our whole lives, right? They say the same. Like if you were growing up in a certain household, you will probably be a different person than later on in life, that you probably move out or met new people that you might exchange ideas or have a different sense of self just because of that interaction, right? Just going to school changes a lot of people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, okay, let's just, for the time's sake, let's continue. So, para avanzar esto, vamos a continuar, y para esto, I want to start bueno, vamos a seguir con este pequeño detallito que le llamo internal and external. It's really fast. How we feel we are when nobody is around, and how we present ourselves to the world are a balance we unavoidably have to find. And it goes to that balance we're talking about, right? So, interno y externo. ¿Cómo sentimos que somos sin nadie alrededor, verdad? Y cómo nos presentamos al mundo son un equilibrio que inevitablemente debemos lograr, ¿no? Just to put that concept. And for that, I want to start with this exercise, just one more exercise. Write down how you think the world perceives you. So, este ejercicio es, escribe cómo crees que te percibe el mundo. Y como les decía, puede ser cómo te percibe a ti mismo, cómo tú piensas, o el personaje en el que estabas basándote, un amigo, una amiga, un tío, un sobrino o otra persona. No tiene que ser ti mismo, ¿va? Pero intenta ser un poco real, ¿ok? So, again, as I was saying, it can be yourself, or you can use the fictionalized character, or based on your uncle, your mom, your boss, or whoever you want to think about, and how you think they think the world perceives them, right? So we're gonna give you 3 more minutes, Luis.
Yeah, so let's go a full 5 on this one.
Oh, full 5. Okay. I'm giving you chances here.
And also, don't feel pressured to write complete sentences. It could just be bullet points. It could be a small list. This is just a way for you to begin building some ideas for your final poem of the week.
Sí, ahorita estamos moviendo, ¿verdad? Moviendo toda la sopa para ver qué sale después. Si se dan cuenta,
vamos. Sopa. That's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Hay que echarle el maíz al pozole.
Sí. Yeah, that's one of the ways I like to do poetry, having all these concepts in mind and then see how I want to get them out, in a poem, so people can relate and understand, like the same thing with the Bluebird that we covered at the beginning. It's all these concepts. Then let's figure out how to put them in paper or screen nowadays.
Both, maybe.
Yeah.
And if you're struggling a little bit to get started, you could think about Charles Bukowski's poem Bluebird, and how there's a couple of different things that he lets us know about himself in the beginning, that he thinks of himself as being tough. He thinks of himself as being, somebody that can't portray a sensitive side, right? he thinks of himself as a drinker of, whiskey and a smoker, and he thinks that that's how people perceive him. So there's a few things there that you could potentially draw inspiration from as you develop your own list.
Maybe the people who are afraid of silly things might think, oh, okay, people see me as either I'm like not afraid of anything, so I don't want to say anything, so they don't change their view about me being, not scared of anything. Or they think I'm silly and I get scared of everything, so I don't want to say that I'm scared of that, because they will reinforce how they think I am, this chicken.
Nice. Thank you for sharing, Dr. Rosie. From Dr. Rosie, we have warm, being a warm person, compassionate person, being funny, being confident, being assertive and strong, creative and happy. Those are the outward perceptions of Dr. Rosie, according to Dr. Rosie.
Yeah, this is how people, how she thinks people see her. Okay.
Thank you for sharing in the chat there, Elena. From River, we have upside down, 2 inches to the left of where the doorway starts, being nice, being mean, body like a lopsided, lumpy pillow. I like the next one, person that gives no fucks. Number 7, probably should give more fucks. Gives too many fucks, and probably should give less fucks.
Get it.
Very good. Thank you for sharing that, River. Looks like you have someone vibing with you on the same frequency. En este momento estamos haciendo un ejercicio donde estamos escribiendo una lista de las percepciones que otros tienen sobre nosotros, o mejor dicho, la manera en que nosotros mismos pensamos que otras personas nos ven, cómo nos percibe el mundo.
Me is like, I'm the same.
Yeah, I think Rivers is probably universal. Dowdy, thank you for sharing. Dowdy wrote in the chat, sensitive, flamboyant, creative, energetic, introspective, and welcoming.
True. Good. And I think this is something we already think, right? Like that's always the psychology of it says, like, we are aware of that. We have always asked ourselves, oh, I think they see me this way, right? And that's how we basically confront the world, right? We start seeing how people look at us. Brave, vulnerable, not afraid to feel difficult emotions, rude, kind, abomination, sin, cause queer and trans, creative, hella weird. Good one, B. Good one. Yes. And again, we already have like some sense of these prior to this exercise, I'm pretty sure. And then we have iPhone Mary, a rebel, not judgmental, wild, funny, creative, bold. There you go. Like it. Rebels.
It does seem to me like it is easier to think about how others perceive us. Even though it's, it's our own internalization. What we other people think about us. Because it's maybe in a way what we hope we are reflecting to the world, right? We hope.
Again, at the end of the day, it's how we think other things about, because we didn't ask them. Few times people do ask, right?
yeah, that's true.
And I think that can solve a lot of problems. It's just like, hey, what do you think? Then we have Aria, creative, spontaneous, talkative, and introspective. Yes.
Yeah. Pero lo que me da risa un poco es que yo creo que es mucho más difícil admitir cosas sobre nosotros mismos que escribir lo que pensamos que otros ven en nosotros.
Oh, sí, escribir que no queremos que los demás sepan de nosotros, ¿verdad?
Ajá.
Sí, por eso lo tenemos en secreto.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's the key. That's tricky. That's tricky.
Good one.
Mhm. But both require some type of introspective.
Mhm.
Just talking about it is the problem.
Yeah, I can imagine there's a lot of sociology theories around all of this.
Yeah. I want probably some. Oh, hold on. We have Rachel. I mean, our empathetic, kind, strong, loud, witty, rule follower. Okay, we have a rule follower here. Oppressed, witty, and people pleaser. And I noticed that she put witty 2 times, so extra witty. Excellent. Okay, so thank you very much for everybody who wrote on the chat, por todos los que participaron en el chat, muchas gracias. Y continuemos. Para esto les voy a dar chance, para que lo quiera leer, les voy a dar chance. ¿Quién quiere leerlo? Alza la mano. Repite el gusano. Who wants to read it? First, we're going to go in English, and then I'm going to need a Spanish reader for the next one. I think Luz...
I would like to read it.
Okay, go for it. And then I think Luz said she wanted to do the Spanish, right? Luz?
Yes, I'll do the Spanish.
Okay, so we'll start with Lina, right?
Yes,
Okay, whenever you are ready.
I'm ready. But there is a bluebird in my kitchen that wanders around. But only a couple of yogurts could be found. There is a red galaxy outside my window, trying to peek inside, but only outside it can see me. There is a bluebird in my kitchen that wanders around and brings me pizza and beer, and we eat and drink, but nothing stays for too long. There is a red galaxy outside my window, and when it sees me, it whistles and sings love songs to me. There is a bluebird in my kitchen that wanders around, too big to fly, but I'm too fat to give it any advice. There is a red galaxy outside my window, trying to peek inside, telling me you should be a model. I wish I was you. Title: The Bluebird and Galaxy.
Thank you very much, Alina. That was perfect reading. And before we continue with the conversation of it, let's go in Spanish. Vamos a seguir en español y después vamos a hablar del poema, ¿ok? Ok, Luz, cuando estés lista.
Pájaro azul y galaxia roja. Jaramillo. Hay un pájaro azul en mi cocina que deambula, pero solo hay un par de yogures. Hay una galaxia fuera de mi ventana tratando de asomarse al interior, pero solo afuera puede verme. Hay un pájaro azul en mi cocina que deambula y me trae pizza y cerveza y comemos y bebemos, comemos y bebemos. Pero nada permanece por mucho tiempo. Hay una galaxia roja fuera de mi ventana y cuando me ve silba y canta canciones de amor para mí. Hay un pájaro azul en mi cocina que deambula, demasiado grande para volar, pero estoy demasiado gorda para darle algún consejo. Hay una galaxia roja fuera de mi ventana tratando de asomarse al interior, diciéndome, deberías ser modelo. Ojalá fuera tú.
Muchas gracias, Luz. So, what do you guys think about this poem? ¿Qué piensan acerca de este poema?
That you've been eating too much pizza and beer. Drinking beer.
Was there?
Too many pizza and beer?
Well, in the galaxy that is this poem, that might be true. River wrote in the chat that there is a striking difference in how you feel versus how you feel you are seen.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So, ¿qué piensan acerca del poema? Or what do you guys think about the poem? Okay. And it can be anything. Don't worry. No wrong answers or.
I guess it's kind of nice to just fantasize or, think outside the box and create, like make your own personality through this. When you talk about the red galaxy outside my window, you're creating your own personality there, and you have the power to do that. So it's kind of cool.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yeah, it's probably worth mentioning that no poem has to always be autobiographical.
Right.
There doesn't always have to be a sort of real, personal basis for something to exist in literature. You can create from a place of persona, and a persona is just kind of like an assumed identity, right? Which is funny because in the Spanish you can obviously gender some of
it's a little easier. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
But some hints are thrown there, right? Some hints.
Yeah. Benny also wrote in the chat that they like how it's formatted from the left to the right and back and forth.
So it's B, right?
B, Benny.
So why do you think it was formatted that way? I think I would like to know what you think about that.
I still haven't gotten to read it, but I heard somebody was talking about how it is different from like how you're feeling versus how you're being perceived. So I'm guessing because the one on the left is talking about the bird and the other one like talking about the galaxy. Galaxies are way more like infinite and larger. Yeah.
But yeah, it's basically putting like the inner person being the bluebird, especially because of Bukowski. And I know a lot of people have read this poem. It's one of those famous ones. So I kind of didn't push too much on explaining it, because I know if people have seen this poem before, they will understand it's talking about the self, the person who's talking about in the poem, right? And then goes saying how this person thinks he's fat in reality, and inside it's having an eating disorder because nothing stays for too long. It's puking all the stuff that's eating just so that people can continue viewing her outside as a skinny model that people think, right? So it's two different concepts of inside the person thinks it's fat, but he knows that the outside people, which is the red galaxy, sees her as this beautiful person, but it's just a problem of viewing, right? How she thinks she's fat, but the people outside see her as a model, and even they want to be her, even though she doesn't want to be herself. And there you go. That's dang, yeah. I got a little mental here, but it is what it is.
In the chat, Grisel wrote that it could be a self-portrait. You think you're not worthy of whatever it is you're capable of. And then Aurea added in the chat that it could be a conversation, the approach that you're taking there.
Mm-hmm.
And we also have a comment from Rachel. The unhealed version that the Bluebird has access to is gluttonous and alcoholic. The red galaxy is big and threatening and wishes to be closer to the assumption of who they created them to be. So the galaxy has created a fantasy of who it believes the person to be.
Yes, it has to be with that, right? And it's just part of it. Like sometimes the world sees us, but because we have that conversation with the world of how we want to be, we want the world to see us. So we put that kind of face, right? We put that window, and we only let them see what we want. In reality, that's how the world also gets misinterpreting, right? Because like we're saying, we don't want people to know that we're cocky or funny or that we don't like the wind or things like that. And then the world only sees that, doesn't see what we're hiding, right? So it's that kind of conflict, right? Of like how we view ourselves, how we are really inside, and how the world sees us. It can be two different things, right? And this case is about like food, basically anorexia or some of these eating disorder, right? And any more questions or comments on this one before we move on? ¿Alguien que quiera hablar más de esto antes de que continuemos? Preguntas, comentarios, no importa. Vamos a continuar. So, lo más importante, lo más delicioso, por lo que todos vinieron. This is for what you came for. It's homework. Let's go for the homework. Write a poem using the Bluebird as the internal and the red galaxy as the external. And that's up to you how you want to play it. I just like to divide it in this case. That's why I put two different, basically one to the left, one to the right. That's a good technique of, using space on a page. So, tarea, escribe un poema usando el pájaro azul como Bukowski, ¿va? Y para decir el interior, el interno, y después la galaxia roja como externo. So, el pájaro azul como interno y la galaxia roja como externo, y pueden usar lo que quieran, las técnicas que quieran. Y en este caso yo decidí mover uno a la izquierda y otro a la derecha, pero pueden escribirlo como quieran, no hay problema. ¿Alguna pregunta? Any questions? No questions? Excellent, everybody got it. Todos la agarraron, perfecto. Y lo bueno es que ustedes ya comenzaron a escribir eso, por eso los ejercicios, ¿verdad? Hablamos del interno, como queríamos que la gente no nos viera, y el externo, como pensamos que la gente nos ve. So, un poco de eso. Ya comenzamos a pensarlo, ¿verdad? So we have a couple of those ideas on the exercises.
Abraham, so literally your internal is the Bluebird and the external is the galaxy?
In the poem that I did, yes. And this one, it's going to be up to you. The homework.
Oh, it's up to us.
Yes. Yeah. Again, you can use the Bluebird as the external if you want to, or the red galaxy as the internal. It's up to you. I want you to use those because that's the topic we're covering this year around. It's going to be birds and galaxies. That's the theme of this whole class. We're gonna go different. We're gonna view different ways. Like this time, I went psychological on this one, but we can be. For this one, I want you to use those two so we can have that kind of contrast, right? And because we know Bukowski, so you can also use Bukowski's, language a little bit to give you an idea of how to write it if you don't know exactly how to approach it.
Okay, thank you for the clarification.
Yeah.
Just to make sure that everybody gets the same information. There was a question about guidelines and, requirements for the writing exercises. And, the homeworks are open for you to interpret as you see fit. So there's no specific guidelines for writing specifically. It could be free-form poem, it could be haiku, it could be sonnet, whatever kind of floats your boat, right? Se puede interpretar de la manera más apropiada para uno mismo. If you're going to be doing something that is maybe visual art based, like photography, drawing, etc., it's also pretty open. There's no specific guidelines. The only thing that I do need to make sure that is clear is that we don't want people using any form of generative AI. That's something that we really, aren't comfortable with publishing in the end. So please don't use generative AI as part of your responses to any of the assignments that we provide. But aside from that, have fun, really enjoy yourselves, let the writing take you wherever it wants to go. Aquí no tenemos ningún código que diga que no se puede dibujar o como sea. Si van a interpretar las tareas de manera artística, visual, puede ser de cualquier modo que uno quiera. Lo único que pedimos es que no usen la inteligencia artificial generativa, que pues la verdad nos sentimos muy cómodos en el uso de tal. Entonces solo eso es lo que pedimos, pero aparte de eso pueden hacer lo que quieran acerca de las tareas.
And here's also the works cited if you want to follow some of the stuff. For example, there's psychological research, Bukowski's info, and then the poem, the works cited. There you go. And again, if you don't know how to approach it, you can use the examples that we used. We have the Bluebird, which I use as my example to write minds, which is where is it? Oh, here you go. So there you go. That's why I started with there is a Bluebird. Yeah. Because I use this as my guide, right? As my inspiration, right? So you can use them and start using your ideas to write your poem. Pueden usar los ejemplos que usamos para comenzar su poema y poner sus conceptos ahí. Ok. Hay una pregunta antes de que digamos adiós. Arrivederci.
Oh, I have a question,
Bring it.
Mary. So the external would be whatever the story is that we're going to be telling in the poem. It would be how others see us,
Yes.
and the internal is how we see ourselves.
Yes.
Okay. All right. And would it be possible to include like an attachment of the presentation each week?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So to answer that question in particular, because today's session is being recorded, it is going to be posted to our YouTube channel and also on our website, along with the handout. So the handout that we covered for today, I just uploaded it one more time in our chat for anyone that kind of showed up a little bit late, didn't have access to it.
Okay.
Yeah, so the
Thanks.
handout along with this recording will be posted on our website in the next couple of days. Also, because today's session is a creative writing lesson, we're giving you a quote-unquote homework. If you want us to give you feedback directly on your writing or whatever creative response you have to the assignment, please email it to us no later than the end of the day Friday. I just put our email addresses in the chat, luis@distillarts.org and abraham@distillarts.org. If you email us, we'll be able to come next Tuesday with notes prepared for you, and we'll give everyone else a chance to also see your work, kind of give you some feedback on it directly. Next Tuesday will be, again, a feedback session, kind of an opportunity for everyone to workshop as comfortable as they feel, having their work read by the entire group. If your work is not reviewed next Tuesday, the following Tuesday is going to be a second workshopping session where we will give you the ability to share your work again. We'll prioritize the folks that didn't get to have their work presented the first time. So we'll kind of go in order of, who shares their work first. But ultimately, you get the next 2 weeks to develop whatever writing you develop or artwork you develop based on the prompt that is provided tonight.
You said that in Spanish, please?
Yeah. La semana que entra vamos a ofrecerles anotaciones sobre los trabajos que crean durante esta semana, estos próximos días, así como reflexión sobre el tema que se dio hoy. Pedimos que si quieren notas sobre sus trabajos, que nos manden sus trabajos usando email. Y en el chat acabo de subir los correos electrónicos de Abraham y yo, cuáles son luis@distillarts.org y abraham@distillarts.org. Si por alguna razón no repasamos sus trabajos el martes que entra, vamos a tener el siguiente martes, que también va a ser una sesión a donde vamos a ofrecer anotaciones sobre los trabajos que se entreguen. Así que van a tener 2 oportunidades para que podamos darles, notas sobre sus trabajos. And again, please email us early enough so that we have enough time to be able to give your work a good amount of time to, read it, review it, think about it, and give you as much feedback as possible. If you're not familiar with Google Docs, that's our preferred way of receiving your work. However, we do recognize that some folks might find it difficult to navigate Google Docs, so you can send it to us as a Word document or a PDF as well to the same email address. Just know that when we respond, it might be in the form of a Google Doc version with notes directly on your work. So just be aware of that. If you are familiar with how to use Google Docs, then hopefully you'll be able to easily share it with us. Y si por alguna razón tienen problemas usando Google Docs o mandándonos algo por email como un archivo adjunto al correo, por favor comuníquense con nosotros. Tratamos de ayudarles lo más posible con el apoyo técnico. Technical support is obviously available to anybody that does need it. Just let us know well enough in advance and we'll do our best to help you remotely. And even if it comes down to meeting in person, if you're in the LA area, we can try to arrange some kind of way to support you. But in general, email is going to be the fastest way for us to get back to you. Any final questions or comments for tonight?
Well, I gotta say, it's deep.
It was deep.
Yep. Let's work on our traumas. Trabajemos en nuestros traumas y escribamos, porque ese es el chiste.
Where's the therapist? Where are the therapists on the sideline?
This is the whole therapy.
The therapist on the sideline.
Obviously, there's no pressure to have something finalized by this Friday. You're welcome to send us a draft. If you have ideas that you just simply want to share, that can also function as a thing that you have us review. And then the following week, once you have a more roughed out, a more completed draft, you can still resubmit something and have your work reviewed a second time. So you have the potential of up to 2 reviews over the course of the next 2 weeks. But in order to give myself and Abraham enough time to be able to review the quantity of work that we hope to receive, we just ask that you send it to us at least the Friday before, by the end of the day of this upcoming Friday, so that way we can be ready for you next Tuesday.
So yes, everybody's ready. And paper to pencil. Pencil to paper?
Pencil to paper.
It depends, right? What?
A trabajar.
Work.
Exactly.
Okay.
All right, everyone.
If anybody feels like, okay, we didn't cover too many poetic techniques, I guess sometimes we just cover the psychological part of things. Sometimes we review techniques, so don't despair. We'll be switching from either the concepts or techniques. It just depends. And again, it's the poetry. It's really open, so you don't have to write a certain style. Poetry, just you speaking the way you want and making sense. Ok, so como les decía, no se preocupen si no saben muchas técnicas de poesía. La cosa es que a veces contamos con el tema psicológico o el concepto y a veces vamos en las técnicas y pues pueden usar los ejemplos que dimos, o si más que nada la poesía no tiene que ser tanto así como que quiero que lo escribas de cierto formato. Pueden escribir ahorita como quieran mientras ustedes se sientan que el mensaje se está dando. Perfecto. Ok.
Thank you, you guys.
Thank you, everyone, for joining in. Thank you to everyone who felt comfortable sharing as well throughout the session. We really appreciate you. Que se la pasen muy bonito y esperamos ver nuevas obras en los próximos días. Have a great night, everyone. See you
Igualmente, hermanos.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Good night.
Good night.
Bye, everyone.